Good morning, people. I'm truly glad that they didn't make that speech last night to be out to be some sort of must-watch event. I didn't watch it. What was I doing? Oh, I was watching Ray Donovan or some other shit show. I don't know. Because they got everything all screwed up down here because of the holidays. They're not showing any of the new shows that have been released up in the United States till after the first of the year. They usually run about 6 months. 6 months from release in the United States till it gets down here. You know, if they release it in the winter, we'll get it in the summer, stuff like that, you know. So anyhow, I got a few things to talk about today. Well, let's get the football game out of the way first, okay? That's over here. It appears to be the Seahawks and the Rams. Supposedly a good match. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks, just because they've been playing really good. And I just this year I kind of like them. Most of the time I hate them, but they got rid of Russell Wilson and their coach. They gave the Wilson to the Giants, and they gave the coach to the who did the coach go to? Oh, the Raiders. Thanks a lot for that one. Okay. Going back, and here we are again. Okay. So this was a really I don't know how to say it. It was a joke, you know. Once somebody said it, and I think it was somebody from the Mega that was just a total waste of time, you know. And he's all upset because he wasn't allowed to rant and rave. He was warned more than one time to follow the script, you know. And I guess he had to follow the script, and he followed the script, and it sucked. Okay, so takes care of that one for a while. What else is going on? Oh, he is definitely still continuing trying to shift the blame from what? From himself or anybody he's involved with to Joe Biden. Now, first of all, Joe Biden, like Trump, was guided by advisors. I don't think Biden made too many decisions by himself, you know. But, you know, I just thought he was a really honest, good man. You know, did he make mistakes? Sure. But they didn't really hurt us, you know. He let a lot of foreigners in. So what? You still let in more on the HB2 or whatever, HB1 or HB2 visa program than you do through immigration, regular immigration. So, and they stay here. They overstay their visas. All of them do. You know, some of them went and got green cards and stayed, but none of them very few of them that I've met, that I have personally met, ever decided they wanted to be a citizen of the United States. Take the money and leave, you know. They got paid higher. They got paid more money here, but I'm not sure if it's a lower cost of living in India that would make a difference where they would go back and live better than they were living before they left, you know, or whatever. If you can see over my right shoulder here, it's Sleeping Beauty. There she is. Let me move my arm out of the way. There she is. She's tired. She walked a lot this morning, pooped a lot this morning. She was up all night She doesn't like fireworks. Not like the time, not like she used to, where she would just, curl up in a ball and cry. She'll follow me from room to room, and then she'll just lay next to me, and she curls up next to me and tries to go to sleep. If we're outside, she's running around. Instead of taking off and running away, she comes over to me to put the leash on, and then I take her home. That's what happened this morning. The funny thing about those fireworks is it's every night between 9 and 10, and it was like unbelievable last night. It was all over the valley. And it's basically the criminal element telling the police they can't do a goddamn thing and that they're useless. And I think that's a shame, but that's exactly what they're saying, that they're useless. So, regular police, you have to understand the situation. I don't know if you completely understand the situation down here. If the guy what really confuses them is if the guy is riding on a motorcycle and shoots a skyrocket into the air, whose responsibility is that? And what happens is nobody takes responsibility for it. Because if it's a motor vehicle violation, the National Police Force can't do anything about it. You can ride by them without helmets. You can give them the finger. Just as long as you don't break a law. The only thing they can stop you for is to check your ID. And if you got all your paperwork and your ID there, and you're not carrying any drugs, there's not a damn thing they can do to you. You have to wait if you have an accident and you're laying in the street injured, you have to wait for the transit police to show up, which is anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours. Depends on whether or not they've already gotten their food at the chicken joint. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just absolutely useless. They stand on a street corner and blow their whistle during heavy traffic. Nobody pays attention. They're watching the lights. The light changes, they go. They don't give a shit you're blowing your whistle at like a fucking idiot over in the corner. They just don't care. So, moving along after that one. Let's see. We're getting back to what I was talking about, that Trump is shifting the blame back to Biden. It's been a year since Biden did anything of note, and I think he could have done a lot to prevent Trump, but he didn't. And Trump was successful in blaming him for everything, and by retrospect, that carried over to Harris as well. And I don't think that she was going to be a great president, or that she would have gotten elected anyhow, because she didn't know how to separate herself completely from Donald. She was a last-minute deal, so she didn't have a chance to use the last year or so to prepare for that job, So I think that's just as well that she was going to. So, but unfortunately, we got Donald Trump, who's useless. I don't care what you say, he is useless. So that takes care of that. Now, his advisors are stupid when they advise a lot of times. I mean, they don't have to worry about too much backlash, because nobody knows that they're telling him to say the shit that he's saying. They're scared shitless of him right now, because they just believe he goes off the rails too much. And that's partially, I don't know whether that's a mental condition, but I do know it involves the fact that he doesn't give a shit. Okay? He doesn't care what he says. They can't touch him. He's got immunity. It's his last term. He don't give a shit. He's going to do what he wants to do. And basically, most of what he's doing is, in some way or another, revenge against the people that disliked him. States, individuals, whatever, countries. that shunned him or stuff like that. He's giving them giving them a lot of grief. And I just don't know about. I just don't know whether in the long term it's a good plan that he has. I doubt it. I think he's never gonna go down in history as he's trying to leave historical landmarks around that will praise him, and I think what they'll end up being is graffiti covered, urine saturated hunks of decaying stone. But we'll wait and see. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Somebody said that he's being fact checked all the time. He lies all the time, and I honestly don't know whether he realizes it or not anymore. He's such a compulsive liar. I don't know whether he has. Biggest problem with the pathological liars is the continuation of the story. So what he does is he just stops and says, I don't recall, if you ask him 3 weeks later or something like that, what he said on such and such a date, which he probably doesn't, to be quite honest with you. What feeble-minded son of a bitch right now, so who knows what he's doing. But he's, what can I say? I was talking train. Let me finish the rest of this news shit. Let's see what we got after that. His motives in the Venezuelan thing. Maduro may be an asshole, but he's right about one thing. Trump's motives were all about land and oil and gas and stuff like that, and I don't know if the companies that were kicked out of Venezuela when they took over Exxon and Chevron and Mobil and somebody else, I think, if they're ever going to get back to where they were with that oil. And the fact that you can see gas prices are dropping because they're manufacturing more economical cars again. And if people start to buy into the electric cars, the oil doesn't do anything. Okay? All they're going to use that for is to pollute the air in the data centers that they're building and everything, which is really cool. You build a data center and they blow it up, and then the whole system is fucked. But they don't think that way, They'll have we'll have the best security that money can buy. Yeah, and they'll have the best spies money can buy. So think about that for a while. All right. Oh, man. So you guys getting ready for the holidays or what? I don't know. What's going to happen? I don't know. I haven't the faintest idea. But we'll have to wait and see. I think I've told you this story before. Maybe not this year, but in other videos and whatnot, or postings, I've discussed this before, is that Christmas down here sucks to a certain degree, because although the people around me are very nice and very friendly and everybody wishes everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and all that stuff, in that respect, they're very, very nice. But the big deal with Christmas Eve is to see how friggin' drunk you can get. And I'm talking about, they go on 2-day benders down here, 2-3-day benders, depending when the holiday falls. And nobody sleeps, because even if you don't drink, you can't sleep because of all the noise, fireworks and everything else that are going off. I don't know how people function when you look at them. They're just so absolutely astonishingly drunk. My wife was like that. She's not quite like that anymore, because they're getting a little old. But it used to be the whole family, the sisters, the nephews, everybody, husbands, wives, except for my son John and his wife. They're what are are they? They just don't drink or smoke or do any of that stuff or gamble. They're pretty nice. They're good people. You know, what do they call that again? Krishnas. Yeah. You know, and I get mad when I say, I know what a Krishna is. Those guys that wear the long robes and skip through the airport terminal going, Krishna, Krishna, Happy Krishna, yada, 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 you know. Okay, so, you know, I have to do a Christmas message. You know, I always do. I read something either, Yes, Elizabeth, there really is a Santa Claus, or Once Upon a Midnight Clear, or something like that I'll read. Coming up to that probably Christmas Eve, if not sooner. I'm working on getting some background music in here too, so we'll see how that all works out. In the meantime, everybody, behave yourselves. Hit that subscribe button. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow. I said Saturday that I wouldn't be here. Tomorrow I'm going to be very late if I show up at all, because I have doctor's appointments for that start like, you know, I have to leave the house by 6:30 or earlier to go get a blood test, and immediately following that blood test I go for an EKG, and then I'll hopefully come home. I don't know what's going to happen after that, you know, because my wife just is really aggravated. She's at the doctor today. I'm surprised she did that back-to-back thing, you know. I really don't need her to come with me. I just need somebody that can, you know, translate some of the issues for me, because sometimes I don't understand people, you know. It's like they have an accent that's, you know, it's like the old days when you used to talk to somebody from Georgia, you know. Hey, y'all, what's going on? You know, you can't understand. They slur their words. You don't understand anything, you know. But you sit back and say, okay, you know, yeah, sure, whatever you say, boss. All right, hit that subscribe button. You know, you make me happy. You know, it's a nice Christmas gift. If you can't afford to give me money, you know, or something like that, you know, just subscribe to that's free. Go subscribe to my website and my channel. It's not a website, it's just a channel where I put videos and stuff up on it, all right? And I will talk to you people sometime tomorrow morning, but I don't know exactly when. Depends when I get home. If I get home when I'm supposed to get home, everything will be fine. If I get home a lot later, then I won't be on time, all right? Because I'm not going to run around rushing. I got, you know, got to get to and from places safely, and I got to take care of my wife. So everybody take care, and I will see you tomorrow, and have a great day.